Oh my goodness, that sounds like it's beginning. Doesn't that sound like it's beginning? People are still going to be wandering in, that's okay. If you're still wandering in, please feel free to come down to the front. I can't see you anyway, whether you're in the back or the front at this point, because I'm blinded. I will not lie, it is a little intimidating. This is the biggest theater I've ever spoken in. So I'm going to pretend that this is just you and I, just each one of you, it's you and I sitting down and having a little heart-to-heart about InDesign, Adobe InDesign, my favorite program. My name is David Blatner. I am the co-host of InDesign Secrets and CreativePro.com, and also the InDesign Conference. I also co-founded and I publish InDesign Magazine. As you can tell, I do a lot of InDesign stuff. Lots and lots of InDesign. We are going to be talking about InDesign, and we're going to have this little heart-to-heart discussing some of my favorite weird little things about InDesign that I think are going to make you more efficient, more productive, and have more fun with it. And because ultimately, that's what it's really all about. This is a personal philosophy of mine that I want to share, is that if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. Seriously. So we're going to be looking at how to bring more joy into using InDesign. Because this is an amazing program, amazing program. And wasn't it wonderful to see Shantanu on stage at the keynote this morning giving InDesign some love? Because of course this is the 20th anniversary of Adobe InDesign. I personally was really excited about that. You take joy where you can find it. But it's really wonderful. I've been using InDesign since the very beginning. I started working with InDesign actually before 1.0 came out. And it's been an amazing ride to get to where we are today. With InDesign 2020, I don't know if it's launching today, if it's announcing today. I guess it's announcing. In fact, we have an article, a full article on InDesignSecrets.com right now that talks about all the cool stuff that's in InDesign 2020. So check that out afterward. Also, that's the feature story in InDesign Magazine, of course. Lots of great stuff about InDesign 2020 and the 20 years of InDesign that brought us to this point. So check those out at InDesignSecrets.com. What else do I need to tell you? Probably other important things. So as I said, the goal here today is to bring more joy into your InDesign work. I hope you enjoyed that little animation I was playing there. This was a little thing that brought me some joy. And we'll be talking about how you can do animations within InDesign in just a little bit. But that was all created in InDesign. You can see that we are in InDesign right now, and we are playing with that. Let's go ahead and close this off. This was something I threw together literally 8 minutes. 8 minutes, put that animation together because I thought, oh, well, that would be an interesting way to start off. Here's something that I need to ask you. I need to ask you a favor, if you wouldn't mind. If you have not downloaded the Adobe MAX app on your phone or wireless mobile device, please do so. You can do it while I'm talking. Download that thing and make sure you have the survey set up. You can actually go right to this session or click on My Surveys. So at the end, I'm going to be once again asking you to fill out the survey. This is a big deal for the Adobe MAX team. They have urged us to make sure that each one of you has the app and each one of you is ready to fill out that survey at the end with whether you like this, whether you learned something from the session, and so on. So please prepare yourself for that. As I mentioned, I'm also the co-host of Creative Pro. We have a booth here at the Community Pavilion, booth number 815, and we're giving away stuff because it's one of our missions in life to give away as much free stuff as we can. So we're giving away a free keyboard shortcuts poster for Adobe InDesign to the first 1,000 people. So head on over there to 815. You can also get a little button that has Creative Pro on it. And more importantly, you can get information. If you have questions about InDesign, Photoshop, Illustrator, that's what we're all about, trying to help you solve your problems and get your questions answered. So that's over there at the Community Pavilion 815. Also over at the Community Pavilion is the Digital Guru bookstore. You know, they're selling books and tchotchkes and all kinds of stuff. We have, this is our first book that we've published called GREP in InDesign by Peter Carell. And we're going to be talking about GREP today a little bit, giving you a little bit of insight into it. And if you enjoy that, and if you say, oh my gosh, I wish I could do GREP, I'm going to encourage you to go over there because they're selling it as a discount. They've got an Adobe MAX discount, and that's the cheapest place you can find it anywhere, honestly. So check that out. That'll be good. One of the things I did, many of you filled out a survey. Before this session, I sent out a little note to all of you. In that email, there were a couple things. There was handouts. There was a link to the PDF handouts for you to download, and I know that a lot of you did that. There was also a link to fill out a survey, and I compiled all those. I read through all of the questions, some great stuff in there, really amazing, the things that people are interested in and people want to learn. And I put together this word cloud really quickly, and I love that there's words like tips, because that's what I do. It's all about tips. And love, because it's all about joy, right? Love and joy. We're supposed to be loving what we're doing here. But I also like the words like anything. Just talk about anything. We have anything over here. I thought that was good. So for those people, don't worry. I will cover something that falls into the anything category. But I will say I can't cover everything that you guys wanted me to talk about. All the things that people talked about in that survey, there's just no way, because there were hundreds and hundreds of ideas. But what I will do is give you some opportunities to get those questions answered. So we have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/InDesign Secrets or Creative Pro. Yeah, definitely take a picture of that. And this link at the bottom, if you did not get the handouts from today, make sure you get this. Should I zoom in on that? Make sure you get that link, because that'll get you the PDF that you can download, and has all kinds of information, has keyboard shortcuts, has GREP shortcuts, has lots of tips. It has additional bonus tips that there's no way I'll be able to cover today, but I wanted to at least put in your hands. So that's all there in those PDFs. There's also a link here to, I do a lot of training for LinkedIn Learning. It used to be called lynda.com, now it's LinkedIn Learning. And so I do the Adobe InDesign Essential Training courses. I also have courses there on color management and working with Photoshop and Illustrator and all kinds of deep dives, creating print-ready PDFs, etc. And you can, if you want more information about it, you can get a 30-day trial at that link. So check that out. OK, what else do I need to talk to you about? I think that's it. Free stuff. Get your free stuff. More free stuff. Tips. Anything tips. Let's do some of that. Let's dive in and look at some files here. Let's see, this file here. This is the article that went in InDesign Magazine today. This article looks like it's pretty good. The InDesign Magazine is a PDF magazine, so it's landscape, and it has a little bit of interactivity and so on. But whether this is print or interactive, it doesn't really matter, because ultimately we're laying out a page. And this is one of the themes that you'll hear me say over and over again today, is that InDesign is not a print tool, it's a page layout tool. And it doesn't matter what kind of page you're creating. That page could be print, it could be a billboard, it could be a phone screen, it could be anything. It's just a rectangle that you're putting stuff on. So I really want you to be warming up to that idea that InDesign is all about just creating a page, a rectangle that you're going to put someplace. So this is an article, and it looks like it's, I'll just skip through here, page by page, and it looks pretty good. And I think I'm more or less ready to go to print or export my PDF or do whatever with this, right? But wait, before you export, before you print, there's a couple things that I really want you to do, okay? And I want you to get in the habit of doing them. First thing I want you to do is look in the lower left corner of the screen. Let's see if it works, if I can zoom in here. Check that out. See that little red dot? Might be a little bit hard to see there. That little red dot is a stop sign. Stop. There's something wrong. And you can see that it says one error. Well, what is that error? You can, if you click on the error, which is one error, it brings up the Preflight dialog, Preflight panel. And the Preflight panel gives you information about what's potentially wrong. Not that it's necessarily wrong, but there's something potentially wrong here. There's some issue that you want to take a look at. So where do we find it? Well, let's look in here. Let's zoom in here so you can see this. There's one text error. And if I click on this little triangle, there's there's some overset text. Better look in there. Oh, there's a text frame. And if I scroll over to the right, we see a number. And that number is a hyperlink. So let me zoom back out here and click on that. And it takes me right to the frame. Oh, there's the overset text mark. There it is. Easy to fix, thank goodness. Boom, fix it. Error goes away. The light goes green. And now we're ready to go. Or are we? Maybe there's something else wrong. Because here's the thing. Right now, the Preflight panel is set to this basic working profile. What's that about? This is like the simplest, lowest common denominator stuff that you know that every InDesign user will want to avoid, like overset text or missing links and that sort of thing. But don't stop there. Never stop there. Always push harder. Go beyond. You want to create your own profile. Right now, every single one of you, I guarantee you, wants to go in and zoom out here, say define profiles, and then we're going to click the little plus sign, and I'm going to say my Happy Max profile, give it a name, and then you want to start filling this out. Let's see if I can zoom in here, and you'll be able to see this pretty well. So you can see there's all these different categories, and I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but there's some that I really think you better turn on. For example, if you don't want spot colors, a lot of people don't want spot colors, and unfortunately, spot colors are the bane of InDesign print production these days, because so many designers don't really know what spot colors are, or they just sort of willy-nilly create them. Oh, that looks pretty. So I may not want spot colors in this document, so I better check for them. Let's scroll down here. Going down here. Oh, my goodness. Overprint applied. It's not that overprinting's bad, but I do want to know if there's overprinting in here, because that's something I'm going to want to watch for. Overprinting applied to white or paper, now that's bad. That is a problem, and I don't know if you've ever run into that, but it's a huge problem, and we'll see that in just a minute. Registration applied. You know, why does Adobe put the registration color swatch right next to black at the top of the swatches panel? Who needs to use registration? No one. No one needs to use registration. You use registration color swatch to do crop marks, to draw your own crop marks on the page. Are you drawing your own crop marks on the page? No, you're not. I hope not. If not, we'll have a script for you later if you need to do that. But no, you should not be drawing your own crop marks, so nobody should ever need to use registration. OK, image resolution. Do you want your resolution to be, let's say, I don't want it to be lower than 150 ppi. Great, you get the idea. Non-proportional scaling. If you have images that are scaled disproportionately, that would be good to know. Minimum stroke weight. I don't want there to be anything less than 0.1 in here. I want to make sure that's the smallest. Actually, let's make this bigger. I like that, 0.125, et cetera. You get the idea. We're going through here. I'm not going to hit all of these. Glyph missing, that's an important one. What if you open a document and there's a glyph missing? How would you ever know? Right? Because you'd be scanning through your document looking for those little pink rectangles, but what if you miss one? Wouldn't it be nice for InDesign to tell you? And in fact, that will do that. Non-proportional type scaling, these are all things that you just want to turn on. But you know, take a look at these one at a time. I don't want there to be anything smaller than 3-point text, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That looks great. Let's go ahead and just click OK there. So I've created my own Preflight profile. Very difficult to say. And it shows up here, and I'll say, oh, look, there's no errors. No errors at all until I check for some of these things. And all of a sudden, we got problems. Like, ooh, there's a missing glyph. Well, where is it? Sorry, this is hard to do zooming in and out, but oh, down here. There it is. There's my missing glyph. If I click on it, it takes me right to it. That would have been a pain to find. Let's go ahead and delete it. And you see the error goes away. Let's see. We've got some non-proportional scaling going on. Dun, 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 dun. And you get the idea. I can fix these. Here's a graphic frame that has, let's see, what's the problem here? I've got, 0.1. 0.1, let's change that to a quarter point. And you get the idea. You can go through and really make sure your document is ready to print. Much, much better. Other issues here, color space not allowed. Oh, all of these things have a color space that's not allowed. And remember, the color space that we chose to be not allowed was a spot color. So there's a bunch of stuff that has spot colors applied to it. I'm going to fix that in a minute. Overprinting white. Here's the problem that I was alluding to. Here's a logo. True story. True story. I placed this logo, and I'm getting ready to output, and I'm like, that looks fine. It's a white logo. It's from Illustrator, saved as a PDF, placed in InDesign. What could go wrong, right? So, but this is telling me what could go wrong is there could be overprinting applied to the white or paper color here. So what does that mean? Well, here's what it means. If you go to the View menu and you turn on Overprint Preview, which is another thing you should absolutely always do before exporting your document or printing, go to the View menu, click Overprint Preview. Oh, that's bad. It's white set to overprint, which means, poof, it's gone. Not good. So those are two ways that you can track that. You can turn on Overprint Preview and then go from page to page looking to see if anything disappeared, or even better, check it out here with the Preflight profile that will tell you something's wrong here. Registration color was applied to something, some text that, there it is, registration right next to black. Got a little sloppy there, set it to black, and then it goes away. So you get the idea, right? This is a much better way to check your document. So always make a Preflight profile. Always turn on that Preflight profile in the Preflight panel, and then and check through that, which is good. There's other stuff about profiles and preflighting that we could get into, how you can embed these into documents and all sorts of stuff, which is great for templates. If you're building a template for somebody else to use, you can embed one of these profiles inside your document so that everybody sees it automatically. They don't have to choose that manually, which is great. The other thing I mentioned was that Overprint Preview, super important for checking out and making sure everything's working. There's other stuff in here too for proofing. I don't want to get too far down this road, but the proof colors is a soft proofing option. That is, it makes your screen simulate your output device. So this is how you would do if you want to see how it's going to look in CMYK, or, this is really trippy, most people don't realize this is in here. Now let's zoom out here so we can see what we're doing. View, proof setup, custom. You can choose your output device. These are ICC profiles for those of you who know what that means. I can choose a grayscale output profile, and now I'm seeing what this looks like in grayscale. So I'm previewing the entire document in grayscale on screen because it's setting up that transformation for me. Anyway, that's a I just lost my mic pack here. Hold on. Everything's going to be OK. Don't panic. OK. Let's see. So proofing colors, proof setup, proof colors, really helpful. The other color thing that you really want to make sure you're doing, though, is Ink Manager. You've got to know about Ink Manager, people. Ink Manager lives in about 5 different places, but you can get to it inside the Swatches panel menu. It also is in the Print dialog box. This is in the Export PDF dialog box. It's all over the place. But here, I'm inside the Swatches panel menu, and down at the bottom, I can choose Ink Manager. And Ink Manager is fabulous because it immediately gives you a list of all the inks that are being used in your document. So cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, of course. And then, look what snuck in here. Teal 2, whatever that is. Bright orange, nicely, that's obviously a Pantone something. And another teal 2. OK, that's a problem. So Ink Manager gives me a lot of information right at my fingertips here about the inks that are being used, specifically process and spot. If you're going to print, you absolutely need to take this step of look at Ink Manager and look through here. Were spot colors used? And even if spot colors were used, were they named similarly but a little bit different? Because as you probably know, spot colors named similar is not the same thing as named the same. So here we've got 2 spot colors that are similar, but they really should be the same spot color. Let's say we do want spot color. Let's say. What we can do here is choose one of them, and then go down to this menu down here at the bottom called Ink Alias. And this is tricky down here. OK, we go to the Ink Alias, and we can say, alias this spot color to that spot color. And all of a sudden, everything, even inside placed images, everything that was this teal to will get mapped to this spot color. That is extraordinary. Super, super helpful for when you're working with spot colors, when you do want to be working with spot colors. It also turns out to be helpful even if you're using process colors, because there's some clever things you can do with spot and process, but we're not going to get into that. What we are going to do is we're going to alias this color to this color, and then over here in the left column, we're going to turn both of these to CMYK. So I've now set those two color swatches to process, to CMYK. Okay? That's huge. The ability to get in and have that kind of fine control. And when I do that, interesting thing happens in the Preflight panel. No longer do I have any warnings telling me that I've got spot colors, because I don't have spot colors. Everything's processed now. I can also see that, by the way, this overprint preview feature that I showed earlier, overprint preview really should be named make it look more accurate. That's what it's doing. It's making it look, it's not as accurate as proof colors, but it's more accurate than what you normally see. And overprint preview will actually change, you'll get the overprint, but it'll actually set up your ink aliasing so you can see one color aliasing to another. Amazing feature. Definitely check out ink aliasing inside the ink manager, and always check things out in overprint preview for sure. Okay, phew, that's a lot of stuff. Good, bad, ugly, important? Yes, it was very good. I liked that one. Okay, one more thing that you should know about. Again, these are little features that a lot of InDesign users don't know about. Inside the window menu, you can go to Output and then choose Separation Preview. Let's go ahead and close Preflight here. This is unbelievable. When you turn separations on inside the separations preview, you can see a true color densitometer reading as I move my cursor around. Can you see that? That's amazing. You can do some amazing things with that because it really gives you feedback about what is really going on your screen. If you go into Ink Manager and turn off your, let's go ahead and turn those off, set them back to spot color, and then zoom in again. Move this up here. Now you can see I've got CMYK plus spot colors. I can see, oh, that's 100% bright orange. Oh, this is 100% teal too, whatever that is. So important features that you need to know about if you want to be working, if you want to output well from InDesign. Okay, I'm going to move on. That was part one. Part one has now concluded. We're now moving on to part two. But first, little tip that I highly recommend to anybody who has to work in front of a very large crowd of people. Fluids. Always drink a fluid. Keep water nearby. Thank you. And don't spill it on your laptop. Those are two additional bonus tips for you. Okay, so we're in InDesign. We've checked out this document. Looks pretty good. Let's move on. I want to take a look at a different kind of document. No more separations. I want to talk about interactivity. As I said earlier, InDesign is all about laying out pages. And the pages could be print, they could be PDF, they could be interactive PDF, they could be an EPUB, they could be on your screen. So if you're going to have an on-screen document, a document that's primarily going to be viewed on screen, you want to add some interactivity to it. And there's a wide variety of interactivity that you can use. There is in the Workspace, in the upper right corner, in the application bar, there's this Workspace pop-up menu. There's something called Interactive for PDF. Interactive for PDF is a good first step, but I'm going to close that. But you always want to go to the window menu and come down to interactive, and then work with a mouse, not a trackpad, and then you can find a bunch of other stuff that's hiding in here. An animation panel. Animation, that could be interesting. There's, what else is in? There's object states. Object states are for doing things like slideshows, where you can take a single object that can be in multiple states, and you can flip through them one state at a time. Really powerful feature. There's timing, which has to do with animation. Let's take a look at some of that. I don't see some of those here, so I've actually gone ahead and opened those panels myself, and then I've saved them into, save them into my own workspace called David's Interactive. You know how to do workspaces, right? You set up your panels just the way you want, getting everything just the way you like it, and then you just say new workspace, and you can save that as your custom workspace. I really encourage people to do that. Don't go with, I mean, for goodness sakes, don't go with Essentials. This is like, there's nothing there. Or even Essential Classic, even worse. Or Advanced. Advanced is the good step, but set it up the way you work. The more you customize InDesign to the way you work, the more efficient you're going to be. So I've opened the panels, and I've put them where I want them, and I've closed off the dock, because most of these I don't, you know, you can make these wider and narrower, right? So I just need the, I don't need to see the names. I know what those panels are. So I put those off on the dock on the right, and I've got all my interactive stuff hiding out here. Now, I've already added some interactivity here, for example, hyperlinks. So I'll open my hyperlinks panel, and you can see that this object, this group of objects really, is, I've just made some regular objects, graphics, text, etc., and grouped them together, and then I've added a hyperlink. And adding a hyperlink is literally as easy as, oops, come on, as easy as coming in here and just typing in a URL if you want. And I have several of these, I've got a couple of these in here already, but I could also, sorry, I lost my place here. Select that. I can click on this little, let's click on something else. Click on this group back here, and I'm going to say new hyperlink. Click on the new hyperlink button, and then I could create a URL hyperlink, or an email hyperlink, or attach it to a file, or jump to a page. That's a common one when you're working with interactive documents. You want to jump right to page 35 or whatever, and you can do that very easily by creating a hyperlink that jumps to a page. I'm not going to do that right now, but you get the idea. I've selected an object. I've applied a hyperlink, in this case, obviously, to a URL, and it's going to take me to that when the user clicks on it. So that's great. So there's hyperlinks. Simple, easy. Everything supports hyperlinks. And when I say everything supports hyperlinks, I'm implying something that is important for you to understand. Because when I say everything supports hyperlinks, that means that some things might not support other things. And sadly, that is the case. Because as soon as you start creating interactive documents, you're going to run into a wall, and another wall, and another wall. And you're going to find that not all formats support all interactive features. And the most common problem is PDF. People want PDF to support everything, right? Everybody wants to make the PDF be the ultimate format that has animations and movies, and send it off to someone, hey, download my PDF and have all the stuff, and it's just not happening. It's not happening at all. It's very frustrating. PDF is unfortunately one of the least able formats for doing interactivity. Hyperlinks, awesome. Buttons, sometimes, depending. Buttons don't work very well on mobile, but they do work pretty well on desktop. Video requires Flash. You heard me say it. Yes, it's 2019, and video still requires Flash in many situations. That's ridiculous. So there's a lot of problems with PDF and interactivity. If you're not going to use PDF, then what could you use? EPUB is a good example. EPUB, there's two flavors of EPUB. There's reflowable EPUB, which is like novels and that sort of thing, and there's a fixed layout EPUB. Fixed layout EPUB would be for a children's book, or a manual, or a sales presentation, something where you know that the person has an EPUB, a fixed layout EPUB reader, because that's the key. You need to make sure your audience has a reader that can read fixed layout EPUB, also known as FXL. And FXL, here, if I just open the export dialog box here, you can see there's PDF Interactive, and then there's EPUB Reflowable and EPUB Fixed Layout. EPUB Fixed Layout is fabulous if your audience has an EPUB, Fixed Layout EPUB reader. All Macs do. Mac and iOS, Apple is a big, strong supporter of the FXL format. Windows and Android, not so much. It's kind of there sometimes, usually works, especially on newer Windows machines with Edge, and there's all these. It's not ubiquitous yet, and that's frustrating. So you have to be careful about who has a fixed layout EPUB reader. But if you do have one, has a lot of interactivity. Why? Why does fixed layout EPUB have such such interactivity? Why can it do animations and slideshows and buttons and everything? Because EPUB is based on HTML. It's an HTML format. And if you can do something in HTML, then you can do all those wonderful things. So that's interesting. You'll notice here that InDesign also has an HTML export option here. You're not going to use that, ever, probably. And some of you probably have tried. This HTML export is for just getting text and graphics out that you're going to give to an HTML developer, and they're going to make it pretty. So this HTML has nothing to do with your page design at all. It's just text and graphics. It's just an export filter for getting text and graphics out that you're going to give to somebody else. So there are various ways of getting this out. But we wish that we could get more rich HTML out. If we could get better, stronger, cooler HTML out, then we could do more interesting things with it, like explainer videos, or microsites on a website, or e-magazines, or presentations. A lot of the work I'm doing now has to do with building presentations in InDesign instead of PowerPoint or something else, Google Slides or something. Because, of course, InDesign lets you create really beautiful, rich designs, and you can get in there and tweak your kerning to your heart's delight, and you can export it, and it's pixel perfect, and it's wonderful. But how do you get HTML out of here? Well, I told you that if you export FXL, you can actually, it's HTML inside. There's actually ways to crack open the EPUB FXL and extract the HTML, but there's a couple easier, much cooler ways. So let me tell you about some of those. One is a script. I'm going to show you that script in just a minute. One is a incredibly powerful plugin, but before I show you that, I'm going to show you Publish Online. Publish Online is a very powerful tool for getting your documents, your InDesign documents on the web. And it's great with one caveat. It uses Adobe servers. So it'll work, but you have to put it on Adobe servers. So we'll look at that in just a minute. Before we put it up there, or before we try Publish Online and exporting HTML, I just want to show you how this animation or how the interactivity stuff works. Let's select this. I've got a group of objects back here, and you can see that I opened my animation panel, and you can see that this one says fly in from left. And in fact, you can see this green line down here. This is an editable motion path. So it's going to fly in from the lower left, technically. I edited that. In the animation we saw at the beginning, if you were coming in early, you saw something flying around the page. That was simply a motion path. It was a custom motion path. I told InDesign where I want that thing to fly around. Let's try in animating this over here. Actually, before we do that, let's show this one. I'm going to open the EPUB Interactivity Preview panel. Let's make this a little bit bigger. So the EPUB Interactivity Preview is an HTML. It's like a browser. It's a little web browser inside of a panel. And I'll come down here and say, I just want this one page. And I'll click play. And it exports HTML to disk. And then it plays it inside the panel. Did you see that? Option or Alt click again, and it just replays. So that's what it looks like. Whee! There's the animation. And this little thing is flying in. So one's flying in, one's fading in. Pretty exciting, huh? Let's do one more. I'm going to select this text frame over here. It's actually a group of objects, I think. Yep, it's a group of objects. And I'm going to say animation. Let's have this. This is how hard animation is in InDesign. Select object. Open panel. Choose animation. How about fly in from right? We're done. That's it. Now, you can tweak this a little bit. You can say, how long do you want it to fly in? Let's make it go a little slower. Do you want it to loop? Do you want it to rotate while it's, all kinds of options here. You get the idea. It's very powerful and very, very easy, which makes me happy. Makes me very happy when I don't have to think. No coding, anything like that. Just select it from a pop-up menu. That's awesome. There's also a timing panel. And you can see in the timing panel that these two animations that I had already created are linked together. So those are both going to play at the same time. And this group is the one I just made. You can name them more descriptively. But this one's going to play after these two. Now, I could make them all link together. There's a little link icon down at the bottom. So you can say, I want these 3 things to go together, and then do this one, and then do that one. So you have all that kind of functionality. And it's just drag and drop and clicking buttons and super easy. Let's try it out. Let's open our EPUB interactivity. We're going to press the play button, and bum, bum, ba. Ooh, I like it. Now, maybe I don't want this to fly in automatically. Maybe I want it to be a little bit more interactive. So I'm going to come in here and say, the event, this animation is going to play not on page load. OK, that was exciting. Oh, it's off on the side. Not on page load. Instead, I'm going to be, I want to make a button that will trigger it. So let's say I want to click on this podcast thing. So it's going to fly in and then let me click on it. So I clicked on that. And I'll go to my buttons. And I'm going to say, make it a button. And this button is going to be called show object, or whatever you want to call it. Can you see what I'm doing here? I'm going to say show object. When I click on that, I want it to play an animation. And the animation I want it to play is that group. That's as simple as that. Boom, boom, boom. We're done. Let's try it out. EPUB. Oh, let's actually confirm this. Animation, one more thing to confirm. Oh, yes, I want to turn this on. Hide until animated. So I want this to be hidden. I want this text frame to be off on the side, just lurking until I play it. Let's try it out. Ready? 1, 2, pause. And then when I click on the word podcast, it comes in. So very, very easy to make these kinds of animations super simply. And then what are you going to do with it? I'm not exporting this to PDF, right? It's not going to go anywhere. Animations won't play, and so on. I could go to Publish Online. Let's try this. This shouldn't take too long. Give it a name. Click Publish. There's all kinds of options I'm skipping past, but it's not a big deal. It's uploading this. It's converting this to HTML. Real HTML with all the fonts are converted to SVG, so it's et cetera, and then it says, you want to see it? Do you want to copy the URL and give it to somebody? I could click copy and then email that URL to somebody, and they can see it. In this case, I'm just going to click View Document, and 1, 2, and I'm in a browser, in this case, Safari. Whatever your default browser is, click on Podcast, and it's a thing of beauty. Isn't that wonderful? I love that, the ability to create these kinds of interactive experiences right within InDesign. But as I said, there's a problem. I go back to InDesign here. The problem is it's living on Adobe's servers. So pros and cons. Super easy, but you have to run it off their server. Which is often not a big deal. But sometimes you need your own HTML. Like maybe you want to create this and you want to put it into an app. I mean, you can build an entire app from InDesign and export the HTML and build it into an Android app or a Kindle app or an iOS app. Or maybe you want to take it and put it on your own server and make it a little microsite on your website. Or maybe you want to put it on an iPad or an Android device and just be a presentation for your sales team. Right? So you build this whole thing out, and you need that HTML that you can give to someone, and they can put it on anything and play it, because HTML is going to play anywhere. Maybe you're doing a presentation, and you're making slides, and you just want to play it inside of a browser. Super easy. Let's see how you do that. We've made some interactivity. There's a script, a free script. You know what? I'm not going to show it because of time, but the link is in the PDF. It's a free script that'll export HTML out that Keith Gilbert built. And it's super easy. It's very limited. It doesn't do everything, but it's super easy to use. If you use that and go, wow, I really wish I could fill in the blank, whatever that is, and you want more power, more control, then you're going to want to use this tool called In5. In5 from Ajar Productions. Again, the link is in your handouts. In5 is an amazing tool for getting HTML out of InDesign. And it's super easy. It's even easier now because he created this easy export wizard. It says, do you want to save this? No, I'm going to save it. Hold on. Let me do a resave. V2. There we go. And then easy export out. And do you want it to be a magazine? Do you want it to be a flip book? Do you want it to be a web page? Do you want it to be, let's just say, let's make it a presentation. And click Next. And I need pixel perfect text. Doesn't have to be editable text, pixel perfect text. Click Go, Export, and like the wind. That was pretty good. Open it up, and now this is HTML. This is HTML running off of my drive. This is on my machine right now that I could take that HTML. It has HTML, CSS, JavaScript, puts it together into a directory, and I can do anything I want with that little folder worth of stuff, and it's fully functional. I can click on here and get my animation. I can click over here, and it'll go to my next page, and so on. So super, super easy, great feature that you should know about, or great tool that you should know about in 5 for getting HTML out of InDesign. Good? Excellent. I now do almost all my presentations in InDesign with bullet points that can automatically dim or automatically undim or show up. I can do things of flipping and all the animations. I can do an auto loop, because one of the things in here, I just got to show you this. This is so amazing. There's all these interactive widgets you can use for HTML to add more functionality to your documents from that Justin at Ajar has created. But there's this presentation mode thing, and let's see, we can see you can do these bullet list items that'll build automatically. You can create an automatic loop. So you could create an HTML thing and then put it on a kiosk. Just open it in Chrome or any browser and just have it looping through your presentation. Super, super easy. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that. OK, hopefully we'll have time for questions afterward, but I just want to show you these little bits and pieces, things that I think you should know about in InDesign. OK, let's talk about automation. OK, more fluids. Very important. Stay hydrated. OK, everybody, if there were one word that showed up over and over again in the surveys, it was automation. How do I automate this? How do I make this go faster? How do I get a workflow where I can start automating things? It's critical, right? Because we all have to do more work in less time. So there's all kinds of things that I could show you around automation, but I want to focus mostly at first on styles. I'm not going to get into the basics of styles. I'm going to assume all of you know how to use character styles and paragraph styles, object styles. If you don't feel like a style maven, if you're not like, oh my gosh, I am the best at styles ever, then you should go back and work on styles. You gotta know styles. If you want to automate anything in InDesign, you have to know styles. You have to be a little bit OCD about your styles, okay? Just get into the habit. One thing I'm going to tell you, and I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, because A, I can't see you anyway, but this is one thing I need to tell you. 15% of you, I'm sure, do something horrible, unspeakably horrible, and it just gives me a stomachache to even think about it, to even say it out loud. And that is, 15% of you are still selecting an entire paragraph and applying a character style to it. Stop now. If you ever select an entire paragraph, you want to apply a paragraph style. Character styles should never, ever, ever be applied to an entire paragraph. Again, that's what paragraph styles are for. Character styles are for a word or a sentence or a character, just a little piece of a paragraph. Don't use character styles on an entire paragraph. I just had to say that public service announcement because it's oh my gosh, that's horrible. Okay, if you're using paragraph styles, using character styles properly, but you still need to automate stuff better. So let me just show you one of my favorite ways of automating stuff in InDesign is when you have a lot of text. When you have a lot of text, you often need to automate stuff like formatting some of that text. And one of the great ways to do that is with nested styles and GREP styles. GREP styles are, both of these are ways to automatically format a piece of a paragraph very quickly. Nested styles would be good for, let me just open up, let me switch over to my regular workspace and open my paragraph styles. And I've got a body text style here, and I'm going to say drop caps and nested styles. A new nested style, I'm going to move pretty quickly here. I want a run-in head, and my run-in head is going to be Myriad Pro, bold. That's it. My character style, I'm making a character style on the fly here. It's simply going to apply Myriad Pro and bold to some text. And what is it going to apply it to? Right now, it's going to apply it in this paragraph style. Any paragraph that has this paragraph style applied to it will through the first word, get that style. But I could say through the first sentence, right? And because the preview checkbox is turned on, click out here, now the first sentence is always going to be bold. It's having this style applied to it. Nested styles are phenomenal whenever you're starting from the beginning of the paragraph. So if it's the first word, the first sentence, or there's workarounds where you can do it for other parts of the sentence, other parts of the paragraph. But in general, if you're starting from the beginning, you want to use nested styles. What if you don't? What if it's something in the middle, like the word Adobe? Everywhere I have the word Adobe, I want it to be formatted. That's when you start using GREP styles. And GREP styles are seriously my favorite feature in InDesign. And there's a lot of cool features in InDesign, but this is so tweaky and it's so powerful that you have to know about it. First, we need a character style. And ordinarily, I would already have created a character style, but I'm just going to do this on the fly here. Character style 1, that's a good name. And I'm going to say this one is going to be Myriad Pro. Let's make this one semi-bold italic. How about semi-bold? And we'll change its color to red. There we go. And I want to apply this character style, my red text, red semi-bold text, to something. And right now, it's assigned to this weird code, \D+. And that means one or more digits. That's a GREP code. I mentioned Peter Carell's GREP book earlier. If you read through that, or in the back of the handouts, there's a bunch of information about GREP. You'll learn very quickly that \D+ just means one or more digits. So we don't want it to be one or more digits. There's one. Already see how it got turned to red? We want it to be the word Adobe. So I'm just going to type. This is the world's simplest GREP expression. Just type the word, just the way you want it to be. And it's kind of like find change. Click out here. Find the word Adobe, apply the style. So it did it. Boom, done. It didn't find this one, right? Because GREP is very precise. It's a way to find patterns in your text that's very precise. So this had I typed a capital A, so it only found the word Adobe with capital A. If I wanted to change that so it was upper or lowercase, I need to change the GREP expression, the code. And the code is super simple, but you just have to start learning it. There's ways to learn this stuff. You just put it inside brackets. This or this is inside brackets. One of those followed by Adobe. And click out here, and boom. Now, anytime it finds this, it's going to apply that. Let's try another one. Let's change all my figures over here. That is a very common one, right? Every place we have a figure inside parentheses. So we create a new GREP style. I'm running on the fly here, just parent text. And we're going to make this green. We're going to make it green, and we're going to change it to bold. How about that? That'll be interesting. Fingers crossed. Now, it already started, right? But it only got the number 2, because once again, the expression we're using is one or more digits. So we need to change that. We want it to look for anything inside parentheses. So there's a whole language around GREP. You don't have to memorize a lot of that language because of this little pop-up menu to the right, where, see how it says little @ sign? The @ sign gives you all the special codes you're going to need, most of the special codes you're going to need. So we want, for example, a symbol, which is the open parentheses character. And then it's going to be followed by, let's see if I can zoom in here, a wildcard, which is any character. The wildcard is going to be any character. So parenthesis, followed by any character, and not just one character, right? We have to be very precise here. Repeating, can you see that? Oops, come on. One or more times, and there's this thing called one or more times shortest match, because you don't want it to be like forever. One or more times until, basically a shortest match is a way of saying until something, and that something is a closed parentheses. Bing. Let's try it out. Ready? I'm going to click in this blank area down here. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Every time throughout every paragraph that's tagged with this paragraph style, every time it finds parentheses, one or more characters, close parentheses, it applies the style for me. Come on, that's great. Isn't that great? I love that. That will start saving you some time. What if you only want the text inside the parentheses, not the parentheses, just the text inside? Well, you can do that, but you have to get really precise. So let's come out here, and I'm going to say, I'm going to use another cool trick in here called match positive look behind. A positive look behind means it has to be there. Don't include it, but it has to be there. And I'm going to type the code for parentheses. And then I'm going to type the code for one or more characters, which we just got before. And then I'm going to do a match positive look ahead, right in front of me, come on. And it's going to be the code for parentheses. So it's looking for one or more characters where always behind it is a parenthesis and after it is a parenthesis. 1, 2, 3, boom. And that's as simple as that. And now I'm selecting all the text, but not the parenthesis, right? So you have a lot of control, incredible control, if you're willing to learn some of these grep codes or pull them out of that menu. One more grep thing that I need to show you. This registered trademark, this happens all the time to people. Looks great there in Minion, right? I'm pointing here on my screen. You got it. Back there. Looks great, right? What if we choose, I don't know, Baskerville? Now we're in Baskerville. Oh, yeah, I hate that. Well, that's OK. I just have to search through 423 of them, and one at a time, click the superscript. No, that would be unfortunate. You could use find change. You could use find change and find it, apply it. But then what happens when you edit the text later? No, what we want is a way to automatically and always, without fail, change that inside the paragraph style. So we go to the grep style, new grep style. I'm going to create my new superscript style with typos and all. And I'm going to say apply superscript. So apply superscript. All right, I can't stand that. Superscript. Little tip, along with staying hydrated, don't work in front of 800 people. That's just, in terms of efficiency and productivity. OK, so search for anything. How are we going to find that character? It's inside the menu. Symbol, registered trademark symbol. Anytime you find this, and you can see what the code is, like tilde R, or whatever that is, R, boom, it applies the style for you. So now, next time I'm over here and I say option R, boom, it just does it. Get the application already. So you could do a lot of stuff with grep. Automatic fractions, automatic format. Any time that you find yourself formatting, selecting text and formatting, selecting text, formatting, or doing find change for formatting, you should be thinking, could I do this with grep? That's pretty huge, right? OK, let's move on. Some other stuff. So grep, incredibly important for automating, for getting efficient in InDesign. Another thing that's incredibly important for getting efficient in InDesign is using scripts. You gotta use scripts. You just gotta. If you're using InDesign just the way that Adobe shipped it to you, downloaded it for you, you're not getting the most out of InDesign in a couple ways. First of all, there's all kinds of stuff that you can do with a script that it would be too tedious to do or impossible to do without a script. So let's take a look at where the scripts live. You go to the window menu, go to utilities, and choose scripts. And I have it open in my dock here. And you can see, here's my scripts panel. There's 2 folders, application and user. Look inside application, look inside samples, look inside JavaScript if you want. Typically, that's you're going to go into JavaScript. And you'll see, look at this. All of these ship with InDesign, actually. These all come with InDesign. You all have these already. So for example, let's say I wanted to, let's say I wanted to, let's go to the end of here. I want to make a grid on this. And there's various ways you can make grids in InDesign, but here's a really fun one. Let's say I'm going to just make let's do it with an ellipse. This is hard to do on the screen, but I'm going to make one big honkin' ellipse here, one big oval. That was exciting. There we go. I hit D for default stroke. And now I want to turn that one object into a grid. So there's a script in here that, again, comes with InDesign called make grid. And running scripts is difficult. You have to click twice. That's the trick. Not once, but twice. So if you can double click, you can run a script. So I'm going to say this is going to be 4 columns, 2 rows. In between each row is going to be, let's say, 24 points. Each 22 points here. Click OK, and boom, we're done. So InDesign can do this. You have this because you have this script. So that's kind of cool. Very powerful ways of converting anything into a grid of that thing. Text frames, images, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of cool. Another one that's in here that you should know about is find change. Oh my gosh, let me go back to here. Something called find change by list. I think you'll be able to see this quickly here. Let me come out of preview mode, turn on hidden characters. Oh, I'm in overprint preview. Turn off overprint preview, and look what someone has done. Look what someone has done to my document. After every period, there's 2 spaces. Oh my goodness, there's a tab at the beginning of my paragraphs. Oh, double dashes for M dashes. How many people here have to deal with documents like this? Yeah, isn't that painful? And then it's great. You go to the Find Change dialog box, and it's great because there's these saved queries, and you can do like, all right, look for double spaces and change to single, and so on and so on. But wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? That's my favorite phrase in InDesign. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just run a script? And there is a script that comes with InDesign called Find Change by List. And Find Change by List is an interesting script. It actually lets you do a whole series of find changes for text find changes, GREP changes, regular text changes, and so on. And let's just take a look here. There's my tab. There's my dashes. I think there's some other horrible stuff that we stuck in here, but let's just leave it like that. And how do you run a script again? Double click. Double click. What do you want to change? Just change everything. Boom, done. The tabs went away. The double spaces went away. The double dashes turned into M dashes, and so on. If someone typed 2 paragraphs in a row, those all go away. 2 clicks, and you get all of those things changed for you. Oh, that's a good thing. That brings joy, right? That sparks, what's Marie Kondo's thing? Sparks joy. This script sparks serious joy for me because I've just saved a ton of time. And you can tweak that. You can do any changes you want because here's how the scripts panel work. If you Find Change by List lives inside of this little folder. If you right-click on it, or control-click, whatever, right-click on it, you can say Reveal in Finder. And here it is. And I'm just going to open this with, let's say, BB Edit. And this is a little tweaky. This takes a little bit of time, but seriously, in 10 minutes, you'll be creating your own find change things. Not that big of a deal. It's really quite astonishing. So you just fill this out. You make it work the way you want it to work. And save it and run it, and you're done. There's a ton of documentation on Find Change by List at InDesignSecrets.com. So we make it really simple. OK, let's go back here. There we go. Find Change by List. So there's all of these scripts that ship with InDesign. There's also ways to automate InDesign. There's also scripts that you can find on the web, in forums, download from InDesign Secrets, or elsewhere around the web, all kinds of scripts. And you can see I've got a ton of scripts in here, all kinds of stuff. And I just want to share a few that you absolutely need to have. You just have to have them. One of them is Layout Zone. Layout Zone came out years ago by Martino de Gloria. You can get it from Automatication. Link is in the handouts. Layout Zone is great. Let's say you're working in InDesign and you want to hand over this extraordinary layout to somebody else to finish. Maybe it's an ad. Maybe it's something. It's just part of the page. Part of the page, or maybe it's a whole page that you want somebody else on your team to work on. InDesign is not hyper collaborative, but this is one way you could make it more collaborative. I'm going to select all of those objects, and I'm going to go to the Edit menu and choose Layout Zone, Assign Zone. And this is in your this is there from the script. This assign zone thing is not part of InDesign, but once you install layout zone, you get that. Click Save. Fine, select, grab all that. It creates it. Now, what it did is really interesting. It made a zone. What that means is it took all of those selected objects and it saved it as an InDesign file, and then it placed that InDesign file back into this InDesign file. I don't know if you know that you can do that, but you can place one InDesign file into another. And there it is. It's in the links panel. So this is linking to another InDesign file. And now I could give that InDesign file to somebody else, and they can edit it as, just like you could take a PDF and edit it in Illustrator or an AI file or a PSD file. It's a native file that they can open in InDesign. I don't have a collaborator here, so I'm just going to do that myself by Option or Alt double-clicking on it, and that opens it in my version of InDesign. And I'll select everything, and let's go ahead and just do some weird, wacky things here. Let's go ahead and make this a big, thick stroke and make that on the inside. And let's change this to red. You get the idea. You can do stuff. Let's put some images in here. Graphics, bamboo, not babies, bamboo. Let's grab a bunch of these images. And then it just loads up the place cursor, and I'm going to go click, 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 click. I'm just clicking all this stuff on here. Select all of these, and fill the frames with them. You get the idea. I'm laying out a page as the collaborator. I made some changes to the layout. Now, all I need to do is hit Command or Control S, and it saves it. Done. Saves it, close it, come back to my layout here. Wait a minute, what just happened? What just happened? It automatically updated. Because I used the Option or Alt double-click, it goes into Edit Original mode. Like I can change this again, select everything. I Option or Alt double-clicked on the InDesign file on my layout, change this to maybe green instead. Save, close, and boom. Boom, click. Boom, it changes right there. So again, this could be someone down the hall working on that InDesign layout, that InDesign zone, and I'm updating it here on my page. So it's kind of collaborative, right? But then later, I'm like, OK, enough. Stop making changes. I want to select this and turn them back into native InDesign files. And Martino said, sure, I can do that. Edit, layout zone, convert zone, boom. And now they're all native. Now they're editable objects again. Unbelievably great script. Everybody needs this. If you force yourself to use this a couple times, you'll find yourself hooked on it. It's so powerful. OK, there's other stuff other cool scripts that you should check out in the handouts, including break stories, which lets you break or split up a story. Let's say you have a long thread, and you want to split it right in the middle, like just before this frame. Let's just do this. Come on, David. Just do it. Just jump in. Here we go. Here's my thread from here to here to here. Let's zoom in here. Oops. Let's zoom in here. I want to break it after this frame. So there's scripts for doing that. There's a free script. The link is in there called Break Stories or Split Stories. Break Stories. I can't find it in here, so I'm going to use a little trick. I'm going to do a Command Return or Control Enter to open Quick Apply. If you don't use Quick Apply, you're not doing it right. Get in the habit of using Quick Apply. Command Enter or Control Enter. Command Return, Control Enter, whatever it is. Then turn on Include Scripts in this little pop-up menu here, and then you can find all your scripts. This one is called Story Splitter. I'm going to double-click on that. Oh, I need to select a frame. Story Splitter. Do you want to split it before or after that frame? Let's say after the frame. And then I can say OK, and boom. I now have a feature that I've been wanting for years. It now split it right there, and the new one starts there. Super, super helpful for all kinds of situations. There's a script. It's free. Install it. It's awesome. OK, one more script I have to show you. I love this. Let's say you're doing a photo book. You're laying out a photo book, or just a spread that has a bunch of images on it. And let's grab some more of my bamboo images. How about these 3 random? And I'm just going to drop these in, 1, 2, 3. And I want to lay these out on my page. I want this one to be the whole column. So I'm going to select it and place it. And then I'm going to go like this. Is this efficient? This is what we call working by the hour. Good. Okay, let me undo that. No, if I really want to lay stuff out quickly on my page, I want to use this free plugin called, add-on called Photo Flinger. I love Photo Flinger. Photo Flinger is from Premedia software. They've released it for free a couple months ago, and you can download it, install it. It's really fun. It shows up in the extensions plugin, extensions submenu. So I go to Photo Flinger, and then we just say, I want this to be, I want a two-column layout. Can you see that okay? It's kind of hard to see here. Come on. Two-column layout, and I say, put it on the left. No, let's put it on the right. No, let's put it on the left. OK, this one is going to be a grid of 2 by 2. Let's put this one in the upper right and this one in the lower left. I mean, lower right. Boom, we're done. Is that not unbelievable? Oh my gosh. And then I really would rather have this one on the left. Let's do 2 columns, put that one there, click through that one. Let's put this one over here, lower right. So you can just very precisely position stuff all over your page. Much, much faster than trying to drag and fit and so on and so on. Super helpful. So again, that's in the link is in the handouts. A bunch of other scripts are in the handouts, things that I think you should just know. It's really worth getting efficient. OK, a couple more things I need to show you quickly about automating InDesign. And listen, I know I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you. I know I'm talking super fast. But there's 2 things that are important about that. 2 things you need to keep in mind. First of all, this is being recorded. So you can watch it again later. Okay? So if you wonder, what the heck happened, you can watch it again. Second thing, though, and this is even more important, it really goes to my whole philosophy of training, is that this is called fire hose training. I am shooting as much information at you as possible. I don't expect you to learn everything and remember everything that I'm telling you. What I'm expecting you to do is simply remember that it's possible. David said this was possible. Once you know it's possible, you'll go figure it out. Or you'll look in the handouts, or you'll look at the video, or whatever. Just knowing something's possible in these programs is half the battle. Seriously, whether it's InDesign, or Illustrator, or Photoshop, or whatever, just knowing that it's possible. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Just show you that these things are possible. So here's another thing that you may have heard is possible, but I just need to tell you about it. And that is something called data merge. There are a lot of people who have a lot of data, which means things like spreadsheets or databases or whatever. There's a lot of data that they need to format quickly. And InDesign has a very simple but powerful tool for doing data publishing that I want to share with you, because most people have just never tried it. And it turns out it's really easy. So you should at least try it. It's simple. It doesn't do everything you want. And so there's a lot of third-party tools out there that do way, way more than data merge. If you're doing directories or big catalogs or whatever, you're going to want to use one of those other tools. But if you're doing simple data publishing, there's some cool stuff you can do in here. So here's my spreadsheet, and first name, last name, description, image. Little trick in Excel. Well, for data merge, if you're going to be importing images, you have to use an @ sign at the beginning. And in Excel, in order to type an @ sign at the beginning of a cell, you have to put a single quote. Weird thing you just have to know. Single quote, @ sign, and then the name of whatever it is. It doesn't have to be called image. Then you open up your data merge panel in InDesign, which you get to Window, Utilities, Data Merge. Right? Scripts and data merge both live inside utilities. Go to data merge, say select my data source. It's not going to import an Excel document, but if you save your Excel document as a tab delimited or comma delimited file, you can import that into data merge. And you can see that it looked at that first line and it grabbed all my field headers: first name, last name, description, and image. So now I can say down here I want it to be first name, space, last name, next paragraph, description, and let's apply some paragraph styles to this. This is going to be the bio. This is going to be, obviously I already baked these paragraph styles in, but you get the idea. You make some paragraph styles, you bring in the data, you apply the paragraph styles to the data inside that little text frame there, and then let's go grab our image, just take the image here, and I'm just going to drag that on top of this frame. Now this is tagged with that. And it's as simple as that. I have now taken my data and put it into text frames and graphic frames just the way I want. And we can turn on this preview checkbox. I love this. It's such a little joy of turn on preview, and you're like, oh, it worked. I love that. And then they can click through these. There's the first one. There's the second one, third one, and so on. So I'm previewing it, and I'm saying, this thing is working. This is good. I like that. So I'll turn off preview, and then I'll click in this little button in the upper right corner, and this is how you generate your data. So we are going to generate all the records, and I can do one per page if I want, or I can do a grid on the page. Let's try a grid. In this case, I think I can do 2 up on the page. So I'm going to say preview multiple record layout while this is still open. I probably wanted to, let's move this out of the way so we can see what we're doing. One more time. Multiple records, preview, 2 up. And now multiple record layout, I can say I need a little bit more space here between these columns. Let's put like 3 picas between these. There we go. And now I can move through these one at a time. And you see it's creating a grid. It'll do as many items on the page as it can fit into that grid. Click OK, and 1, 2, 3, boom, I'm done. I have a text, I have a InDesign file. It actually took all that data, it took my template, and it merged them together into a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-page document. And it's done, we're done. So what was that, 2 minutes? 2 minutes from data to final InDesign files. Super easy, but very powerful, really powerful. So I know that was really fast, but I just wanted to let you know it's possible, right? You can do these kinds of things, and there's a lot of options out there. I actually have a whole title on data merge and data publishing on LinkedIn Learning. So you can use that 30-day. If you're not a LinkedIn Learning member, you can use that 30-day thing and watch that. So that'll be cool. OK, so I've just brushed the surface of the kind of automation you can do with InDesign. But I did mention that there's an ecosystem outside of InDesign. And that ecosystem includes free scripts, lots of free scripts or freeware scripts out there. But it also includes commercial scripters. There are people who will create workflows for you, either using scripts or more powerful workflows that are really customized to the way you work and your systems. And they can do way more, way more than we can do with simple scripts and just with InDesign. One of the things is like catalog production, that sort of thing. But I just quickly want to mention that there's another tool. There are other ways. How do I want to say this? There is a whole other version of InDesign out there called InDesign Server. It's literally a server version of InDesign. It sits on a server in your closet or whatever. You can run bazillions of pages very quickly off of it. And I just want to show you a quick demo of that before we stop. So here's an InDesign. Basically what you do, you want to create an InDesign template. So you use the various tools for building a template. And this is a template and a demo that was built by Silicon Publishing. Information's in your handouts. And Silicon Publishing is a wonderful company that builds these custom solutions for companies. So this is a demo that they put together. So this is an InDesign document. You set it up the way you want, and then you use their tool to determine what can change and what can't. So I can take this and then put it out into the cloud and give a URL to a designer at some company, at my client, let's say, and they open this up in Chrome. So here I'm in Chrome, and this is really interesting. This becomes really fascinating because I've told Silicon Publishing, I've told their designer program to set this up so that I can't screw up the identity. Don't screw up my brand identity. But it's OK if you do things like change the numbers down here. So I'm in a browser. I'm in Chrome here. I'm going to say we're changing this to 20. And I want to change this to a different, can you see what I'm doing there? Let's zoom in. So this is in-browser editing. Very powerful way to edit InDesign files through a browser. I could change pictures. Let's say I want to change this picture down here. I'm going to just drag a picture out over here and drop it in there. And let's make this a little bit bigger. Drop it down here. So I'm editing my InDesign template through a web browser. And then when I'm done making my edits and not screwing up my brand identity, I can then say, preview this. And of course, there's other ways I can put it into the workflow or whatever. But in this case, I'm previewing it. Right now, literally, my machine is uploading these changes to the cloud. I love saying the cloud. Up to the cloud, up to their server. And it's creating InDesign Server. InDesign, sitting on a server somewhere, is building a PDF, and then it's downloading that back to here. Right now, with this system, it's taking around 30 seconds. But typically, it'd be a little bit faster than that. It's downloaded the PDF, and here we are. That's the finished PDF, watermarked, InDesign Server, developer. But you get the idea. I am, once again, making edits to an InDesign template in a browser, in Chrome, and InDesign in a closet somewhere is actually doing the work. That's mind-blowing. Think about what you could do in your team, in your company, for if you could build InDesign files and other people could make tweaks or changes, or you could put it out to your sales team, the sales teams could make their changes, and everybody could have brand perfect PDF files delivered to them. Pretty huge. There's all kinds of other ways that you can use InDesign Server for building tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of documents very quickly based on data that's coming in. So data flows in and 100,000 documents come out. All kinds of things you can do for very fast, very powerful data publishing. OK, that's all the different little pieces of InDesign that I wanted to share with you today. I'm going to stick around for a little bit. Please, once again, do me a favor, and let's go back to InDesign. Go to that the app, and please fill that out. That would be super helpful. So fill out the survey in the, he's telling me to leave. Fill out in the app. That would be terrific. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope you enjoy InDesign. Thank you.